This is a Film Stories original podcast.
Love this podcast? Support this show through the Acast supporter feature. It's up to you how much you give, and there's no regular commitment. Just hit the link in the show description to support now.
Hey, it's Mark Maron from WTF here to let you know that this podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. And I'm sure the reason you're listening to this podcast right now is because you chose it. Well, choose Progressive's Name Your Price tool, and you could find insurance options that fit your budget, so you can pick the best one for your situation. Who doesn't like choice? Try it at Progressive.com. And now, some legal info. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Cue the fireplace and your favorite fall movie. There's nothing better than a cozy evening at home with a glass of First Leaf wine. First Leaf is a personalized wine club that delivers right to your door. Sounds magical, right? They get to know your favorite tasting notes, which varietals you enjoy, and whether you prefer sweet or dry wines. So in every shipment, you get bottles tailored to your unique palate. Go to tryfirstleaf.com/fall to get your first 6 wines for just $44.95 with free shipping.
This is Writers on Film, the only podcast dedicated to books on cinema. Hello everybody and welcome to Writers on Film. My name's John Bleasdale. I am a writer and film critic, and today I'm going to be talking to a bunch of writers as I attended the 76th edition of the Cannes International Film Festival that takes place in the south of France annually, usually from mid-May to late May, which was the case this year. I've been going to Cannes ever since, well, my first opening film I remember was Moonrise Kingdom. So let me just check very quickly, which was 2012, sorry. So that means I've been going to Cannes for 11 years, although 10 editions because one of the editions was cancelled due to COVID. And going back this year, Wes Anderson was returning from who is a regular. He was there with his last film, The French Dispatch, and this year with Asteroid City. There were a whole bunch of films that were from noted filmmakers. Nuri Bilge Ceylan, about dry grasses, was the film by the Turkish filmmaker of Once Upon a Time in Anatolia, and Winter Sleep, who had won the Palme d'Or with Winter Sleep. The opening film was Jean du Barry by the French director Maïwenn, who also starred in the film. It was a overblown Marie Antoinette-esque costume drama with a bit of stunt casting on the part of a sleepwalking Johnny Depp. Actually, Johnny Depp wasn't particularly bad in it. It was just not a great film. It's a vanity case. I think if you want to read my reviews, they're over on cinevue.com, CINE-VUE.com. Some are also on the Awards Daily website as well. I referred to it in my review as an expensive box of chocolates where somebody else the person giving you the box of chocolates has already eaten the chocolates, and it's just flashy gift wrappers, chocolate wrappers inside, and nothing to actually chew on. So that wasn't great. The best films for me were, the best film head and shoulders above all of them was The Zone of Interest by Jonathan Glazer, which came away with the second prize, awarded by Ruben Östlund's jury. Ruben Östlund, of course, is a 2-time Palme d'Or winner with The Square and Triumph of Sadness last year. I won't go into any more of the films because that's exactly what we do in our conversations. As the festival progressed, I would defer to other people's opinions on some of these films. Just in the space, I've had my chance with my reviews, so just in the space of this podcast, you'll hear other people's views more than mine. Just a note about the Cannes Film Festival. It's a wonderful opportunity to see cinema red in tooth and claw. There is every aspect of the industry in terms of the marché, which is literally in the basement of the Palais du Cinéma, which is the main building which hosts the film festival. There is the journalism, the press. Usually we meet in the press rooms. There are various ones, or on the terrace of the Palais, where you can get a drink, and also the theatres. The Debussy Theatre is where most of the press screenings are hosted. This year things were a little bit tricky because there was a new ticketing system which was extremely wonky, let's say. It took a while for it to get going, and really you had to kind of improvise your own way of getting tickets because the ticketing system was so miserly in handing out tickets. So ironically, I ended up getting tickets to everything I wanted to see, including the big splash films, which I would guess before going in I would have said the biggest films were Martin Scorsese's The Killers of the Flower Moon. I remembered it in the end. And Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which is the fifth return for the whip-cracking archaeologist played by Harrison Ford, who also picked up a surprise palm for his career, as did Michael Douglas. One of the other aspects of the festival is that it kind of commemorates cinema to some degree, and it makes historical statements about cinema, and that's always an interesting thing to rub shoulders. In fact, one of the aspects that was lacking from this year's Cannes was the retrospectives weren't particularly good. They didn't feel like there was a real theme to them, or there wasn't a person who was getting particularly... You were getting a series of their films being shown. One interesting viewing, which was kind of a little bit off-piste, if you like, was there was a Q&A with Quentin Tarantino, who is sort of doing the rounds with his book Cinema Speculation, which came out last year, as well as a interview on stage. He sat in the cinema and watched Rolling Thunder with the assembled audience, and at the 35mm print, and I have to say one of the worst prints in terms of sound quality that I've seen in a long time. I mean, at this point, I love film. I love the idea of preserving film, but kind of that degree of pops and crackles and hisses and all the various things that all the visual lines and scratches that are on the film, it just seems to me fetishism. It's like somebody who has a record player and then likes to put dust under the needle just to get that raspy sound of a vinyl from the olden days. So it's not, to my mind, it wasn't the best viewing experience, but it was a unique viewing experience, and I'm certainly glad I tagged along and watched Rolling Thunder again, which Tarantino rates very highly. He thinks that this William Devane post-Vietnam War revenge thriller is one of the best films ever made. I would argue otherwise. I think William Devane is fairly... He's okay, you know. I think the film's okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with the film. I think Tommy Lee Jones elevates it quite dramatically whenever he's on screen. But but that's as far as it goes, as far as I'm concerned. I don't see it as this huge masterpiece, but it is. It's an okay film, and it was well worth watching. And there's a nostalgia of just any film from the 1970s looks better because the cars look better, and the telephones look better, and the places where they go in, and things are shot in real places rather than on sets or with CGI green screens or backdrops or whatever. So there is just that nostalgic love of, a cinema of things, of clunky stuff. Talking a little bit too long here, so I think I'll cut myself short and give over to some of the critics that I had the opportunity to talk to. Not many, has to be said, but I think you'll agree with me, a choice selection. David Marquand was one. He's a writer and editor from Neuromuse. Then you'll hear a conversation with myself and Peter Bradshaw, and then there's a conversation between myself and Ed Potton, Peter Bradshaw, of The Guardian, obviously. The final conversation is Ed Potton of The Times and Joanne Titmarsh of the Evening Standard. So it's a great selection of critics, and frankly, people are very generous to give their time because Cannes is just so busy. It's just so busy. I haven't really edited these conversations. I wanted you to get the feel of being there a little bit, and so a lot of the conversations have an element of silliness and roughness to them. There's a little bit of swearing as well, which I will. Which I'll leave in. I'll leave all of that stuff in. I'll do the Tarantino. I'll leave in the pops and crackles. I'll leave in the lines. I'll leave in the fuzz, the fur, and the dust underneath the needle, so you can appreciate the vinyl experience of writers' film in Cannes. Okay, enjoy.
See anything today?
I saw Terrestrial Verses, and I saw what was the other one? The Bellocchio.
Oh right, yes.
Rapito.
The Rapito.
Yes, kidnapped.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that one.
No, why not?
I don't know. I thought it was perfectly fine. I just didn't quite see what it was doing in competition.
Yeah, age and reverence.
Yeah, that's it. But beyond that, yeah, that's essentially it.
Yeah. Okay. Hello everybody. My name's John Bleasdale. Today I am doing a Writers on Cannes special, and I am here with David Marquand, who is a writer and an editor, I think, at Euronews, and he is going to be giving us his impressions of the festival so far. And by so far, we're kind of almost at the end, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it's winding down right now. I think we've seen the majority of the big hitters. So, I mean, there's always like Ken Loach, who could be a kind of last minute, oh my God, this could be fantastic. But considering he's won it twice, I doubt that that's going to be a major contender. And,
Yeah, a couple of Italians left. We've got Alice Roaca and Nanni Moretti, both to come. But yeah, a little bit, not exactly, as you say, none of the big hitters. But how has your festival been so far? What do you think of, in general, of the competition and the programme?
I think it's been a really solid year. I mean, beyond the fact that, of course, there's been the ticketing system problems and these absolutely manic queues, I think we've been treated to quite a solid festival, and certainly a very impressive kind of competition lineup. Bar the opening film, I think there isn't a single film in competition this year that I've seen that I'm just like, oh, okay, well, no, I'm still quite happy to have seen it. It might not vibe with me, it might not be one of those films that, sticks with me personally, but it's definitely been a very, very strongly curated lineup this year.
And what is your sort of standout movie so far?
Oh, I mean, I don't think this is a particularly hot take, but I think The Zone of Interest by Jonathan Glazer, I mean, after 10 years after Under the Skin, it's just one of those films which was just very eagerly anticipated, but just one of those films where you really, I mean, I had screenings after The Zone of Interest, which I cancelled, and I'm not one to do that. And basically, when you see a film like The Zone of Interest, that you want that to be the final film you see that year, almost, not only that day but that year. So no, that one for me has been a particular standout. I think the majority of the press corps will be able to tell you the same thing. I have to admit, there's one that also kind of stands out, which is Four Daughters, which is this incredible docu-fiction hybrid, which really had the emotional goods and not only a very timely resonance, but also something to say about extremism and about indoctrination. But the way it does it is so embedded in a very personal, a very kind of intimate view of what it must be like to have, in this case, children be indoctrinated in any form of extremism, and that one really hit home. I think that one is definitely a standout, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say the Aki Kaurismäki Fallen Leaves, which I can't remember the last time that a Cannes audience started applauding before the actual end credits started rolling and the end of the film was there. There's this absolutely beautiful and poetic kind of cinephile kind of reference afterwards, which is just essentially the filmmaker making his influences be known, and it's obviously, it plays very, very well with regards to a Cannes audience and a cinephile audience. But I think it's this kind of droll Finnish kind of romantic comedy that essentially is beautiful and deeply moving.
Yeah, I love that, and those are really good recommendations. I haven't seen Four Daughters yet. I've got a catch-up screening on Saturday. Where is that film from? I know it's a sort of hybrid documentary about the ISIS recruitment, about the women. Where's it coming out of?
If I'm not mistaken, it's Tunisia, and essentially, I don't know. It's one of those films that just really. I mean, I know that, for example, that Cannes has been, I think, struggling to get documentary films in competition. Especially compared to Sur la Demande, which won in Berlin, obviously All the Beauty and the Bloodshed in Venice recently. So I think documentary is having this kind of, like Lara Poitras said in Venice, that, documentary films are films, they shouldn't be kind of in their own category compared to fiction films. And I think this one's a beautiful example of that, and just something that really kind of, merges the two forms between fact and fiction, but also has something to say about how you deal with grief and how you deal with essentially this kind of unimaginable pain of having this gaping wound that you just you have to confront in some shape, way or form in order to kind of move on with your life, and yet understand that something like extremism, something like any form of extremist behaviour is not only deeply terrifying but also deeply human. It doesn't in any way hector, it doesn't point any fingers, but it just kind of really focuses on the victims of that, and I found that incredibly moving. And also, with regards to the new generation, specifically with what's going on in the world at the moment, with all the protests in Iran, and it's one of those things where you think, okay, this new generation is potentially one which will go forward and will not repeat the mistakes of the past, but then, without spoiling too much of the film, there is this very haunting final shot where it really makes you think, yes, a new generation will be able to break the chain, but there's the danger that it won't, and that these indoctrinating behaviours are so deeply ingrained that we're almost doomed, and the way it kind of plays with that, the way it kind of strikes that very precocious, very, very delicate balance between hope and despair is I found deeply moving.
I'm so looking forward to it. You've sold me on it, definitely. And Zone of Interest, it's curious that film came out and the day that Martin Amis died, just a weird synchronicity to the whole thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have to admit, I was writing on my review and it was about to be published, and then I saw the news, and the second that dropped, my editor called me and was just like, right, you're on obituary duty, quickly write the obituary, and for the love of God, revise your review so you mention the fact that Martin Amis has died. I mean, it's one of those kind of stranger than fiction kind of things where that's what happened. But I think as a testimony to the to an author that really has made such a lasting impact on not only British literature but literature in general, and it is a beautiful testimony to what that particularly that voice has achieved over time. And I can't think of a better film to essentially just go, right, well, this is what this man was about, and this is what we've done. And quite frankly, and without trying to be cynical about this, I think if it doesn't win the Palme d'Or, which I think it will, I can't think of any other film this year which has a shot quite like Zone of Interest. I think that it would be a very fitting tribute to the talent of Martin Amis.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much, David. It's been a real pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much, John.
I'm getting so good at this, it's unbelievable. When I'm doing when I'm at a festival, like for instance, budgets run out for my reviews now, so I've done my 10 reviews.
Right.
And it's like, when I'm watching a film, it's like, it's hardly worth watching a film anymore if I'm not going to review it.
I know. I felt that sometimes, particularly if it's quite an interesting or quite a difficult film, you just think, I'm sort of off the clock now, give it a break.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though it's quite an interesting film, it's a good film.
Well, that's what Lydia always says when I'm sort of watching a film at home. It's like, you say we're relaxing together, but you're still working,
yeah.
So how's the festival been for you, Peter?
How's it been for me? It's been very good indeed. I've been very, very happy about the films that I've been watching. I've only seen a couple of films that I thought were kind of clunkers. Otherwise, I found a lot to like, a lot to think about in every movie. And that thing that is often held against Cannes, that is to say, it's aging masters, it's silverback gorillas who are kind of wheeled out once again. Actually, I found that these older men, I have to say, perhaps I should concede that point, are doing some outstanding work. I mean, I loved Marco Bellocchio, incredible. After half a century, more than that, after Fifths in the Pocket, he comes back, I think, with an absolute sort of barnstormer. His Kidnapped, I thought, was a barnstormer. Kind of old-fashioned, kind of melodrama. But
operetta almost.
Yeah, exactly. Real sort of Victor Hugo stuff. But absolutely rock and roll stuff. And Scorsese, at the age of 80, great stuff. Colossal Western crime thriller in the grand classic American style. How amazing that he's still got the chops for that. Amazing, great stuff.
There was lots of Days of Heaven in there, I was noting,
yes,
as my Malick head was.
That's true. Yeah.
The fire and the.
Do you know, talking of Malick, I would say the Malickian film is kind of Perfect Days by Wim Wenders, mainly because Franz Lustig was the cinematographer, was contriving these kind of golden hour kind of shots for the protagonists' kind of ruminative, epiphanic moments, sitting in sun-dappled parks, sort of enjoying his life in this sort of Zen accepting way. So I thought that for me was the Malickian moment of this festival, was Wenders. Again, good stuff from Wim Wenders. I mean,
it's best film for, I would argue, decades.
I think it's a good film. I liked Anselm better than that, to be quite honest with you, but it's certainly a good film, and it's certainly a very plausible film. And when he's come to Cannes with some terrible films sometimes, I have bitter memories of Palermo Shooting, that terrible film he managed to pass off. But again, here's this guy, and he is a veteran, and yet he is coming up with some very, very strong stuff. Very strong.
What did you think of The Loach? I saw that yesterday.
Well, here's the thing. My thing about Ken Loach now is that I give him a sort of free pass for things which people don't give him a free pass for, which is he uses, as a part of his long-standing arrangement, he uses non-professionals and first-timers, and it leaves them, as it were, almost sort of undirected and unedited. So a lot of people just hate it. They think, what is this amateur hour bullshit? But I kind of, rightly or wrongly, don't see it that way. My equally long-standing response is to see him as the John Bunyan of British cinematic social realism. That is to say, his plain-speaking, unadorned, unironized. There is none. He rejects, almost like Gerard Winstanley, he rejects the luxury of artistry. There it is. There it is. Plonk. There it is. Take it or leave it. Worrying about the artistry of the cinema is not as important as worrying about the oppression of the working classes. That's my take. Again, take it or leave it. And I've always taken it, rightly or wrongly.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it reminds me a little bit of a film community project where the film is not actually the most important thing. Yeah. It's the process of making it.
Yeah, kind of. And other people, I've had that thought, and other people have it as a sort of gotcha. What a load of rubbish. Do you see what it's like?
Yeah,
and he would say, yeah, that kind of is what it's like. And perhaps as a result of his colossal prestige, he's the only person allowed to think that. Nobody else is allowed to think that. A younger filmmaker wouldn't be allowed to come up and here and do that. No. And yes, it is a bit mystifying how he, not simply that he's allowed to do that, but that he's granted access at the very top over and over again here to do it. And, we can have a conversation about that. But I'm terribly glad that he exists, because nobody else wants to do it. It isn't as if, your film, Mr. Loach, your film about the oppressed working classes and the Syrian refugees, that's terrible compared to the luxurious number of other films we've got on that subject. Look at all these other Bedemays we've got on exactly the subject. Actually, there are no other films on this subject. Nowhere. I don't know of any. And I know of loads of filmmakers who are called Loachian in the sense that they affect the mannerisms, but with the artistry that Loach doesn't have or doesn't want, which is to say elaborately contrived shots of urban deprivation or rural deprivation, sometimes juxtaposed with some redemptive moment of natural beauty or something like that. That is actually not Loachian. Ken Loach has no interest in that sort of thing whatsoever. So I'm always taken back to a very good point. I can't remember who made this point. He said that back in the day, back in the late 60s, when, let's say, Cathy Come Home or Kes was coming out, if you compare it to Kubrick bringing out 2001, when Kubrick brought out 2001, it was real in that you thought, yes, actually, the moon landings are happening, and by 2001, it probably will be happening. Yeah, it was real.
Yeah.
And that's what his films were real, like 2001. He said, the socialist, perhaps not revolution, but socialist reform is coming in the same sense that the moon landing is going to lead to lunar exploration and interstellar exploration. And that was a mood that he had in the late 60s. Of course, it doesn't happen now. Yeah. You watch sci-fi now and you think, of course it's not going to happen. I don't believe it's going to happen. And people, however sympathetic they are when they watch social realist films, don't believe in their heart that it's going to happen in the same way. But Ken Loach does.
Yeah, and that's the first time I've ever heard Loach put together with 2001: A Space Odyssey, which is a heartening thing.
Explaining football to the friend who's just there for the nachos? Hard. Tailgating from home like a pro with snacks and drinks everyone will love? An easy win. And with Instacart helping deliver the snack time MVPs to your door, you're ready for the game in as fast as 30 minutes. So you never miss a play or lose your seat on the couch or have to go head-to-head for the last chicken wing. Shop Game Day Faves on Instacart and enjoy $0 delivery fees on your first 3 grocery orders. Offer valid for a limited time. Other fees and terms apply. This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Ken should remake it.
That would be great. Yeah. With Lionel Rossiter, we have to get him back.
Yeah, exactly. Get him back.
What are your predictions then? So we're on the final day of the festival, and the Palme d'Or comes out and gets awarded tonight.
I am predicting, and this is on a basis of what I think will win rather than should win exactly, but I'm predicting The Zone of Interest, which is a brilliant film, unquestionably, although in my tiresome and pathetic way, I have qualms about Mr. Glaser's super slick, chic, super stylish Auschwitz chic.
I do as well, but I thought the film included those qualms within themselves, and I guess there's a take it or leave it point there as well of you trust him or you don't.
I think so, and there's no filmmaker more, with the possible exception of Ken, more take it or leave it than Jonathan Glaser, who's magnificently unconcerned with what you think.
Right.
Even or especially if you like it.
Yes.
He is not interested in your views either, which is, I think, is amazing. I think it's absolutely great. But if it was up to me, if by some terrible administrative error I was consulted, I would give it either to Kidnapped, or I would give it to Alice Rohrwacher's wonderful film, her wonderful film La Chimera, which again is. Some people have qualms that it's indulgent and it sort of goes off into a mad dialect of its own. But I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I thought that was a wonderful movie, very humane movie, and I love Josh O'Connor in it. Sort of unusual.
He's very good in it.
Unusual English language casting.
Yeah, he looks like the English patient Ray Fiennes has been dragged through a hedge.
Yes.
You know,
very Ray Fiennes, very kind of classic white suit acting. But I absolutely adored it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think she's a great director. My qualms with that one was it felt a bit like a mood board. It felt a bit like it gave me all the moods that I'm sure she wanted to give me, but I wasn't quite convinced she had a story to hang it on.
Right. I get it. I get that. I think that the story was there for me.
Right.
For me, the story was his lost love and the idea that his grief had given him this superpower, that he wants to reconnect with his lost love, so it's kind of warped into this sort of Spidey sense, and that's what I took away from it. And again, she's a wonderful presence at Cannes. A wonderful sunlit way of ventilating Cannes is a Rohrwacher film.
I think she's the most interesting Italian director currently working. Maybe her and Garrone are the two real.
I've certainly zoned out of Nanni Moretti, which I thought was the clunker of this year's festival. I really thought
it wasn't as awful as Three Floors, I didn't think, but I thought his pronouncements on how to make a film, you can't do that if you're not making amazing films. No. You know.
I personally think, and you're doing that kind of, here I am in my midlife way. Everyone's an asshole these days, except me and my friends. Here I am at the end of a long meal, and I've got drunk and dyspeptic and grumpy. It's as if you're at the end of I've had these conversations in dinners at Cannes, listening to people say, you know what, the movies are bullshit nowadays. Cinema is bullshit.
Netflix.
Taking meetings with Netflix, people who, they might, that scene, the Netflix suits might have said, well, we work with Martin Scorsese and it's good enough for him, Chief.
Yeah.
So why isn't it good enough for
you can't get on the phone.
You can't get on the phone. And that's a terrible scene, because he phones up Martin Scorsese, leaves a message, and we thought, okay, he's got it, that's going to be a joke at the end. Martin's going to call him back at the very end. And we're waiting, nothing. Yeah. Absolutely fucking. And he's doing this sort of Marshall McLuhan, Woody Allen rubbish with other walk-ons. And there's nothing more depressing than a kind of sentimental, self-congratulatory parade of Italian cinema cameo greats. Why? It's just depressing. Make a good film. That'll make me feel good about the Italian cinema.
Yeah, there you go, absolutely.
Make a good film. Don't sort of lecture us about it in that boorish way, that kind of dyspeptic, boorish way. And I love Nanni Moretti. I think The Sun's Room is the greatest Palme winner of my lifetime. But that's the one Cannes moment I kind of zoned out.
Oh dear.
But as I say, that was very rare. I've had years where I've had 3 or 4 moments like that.
I have a feeling that Club Zero will pick up a prize. It wasn't a film I particularly liked, but I just think that the Ruben Östlund and the being jury president, he'll go for the vomit.
Yeah, he may well go for the vomit, although my experience of jury presidents is that they will go for the very opposite of what they like, just to sort of keep you on your toes. There's another director that I have liked in the past, but I think she's making nebulous stuff now. I think Club Zero was nebulous.
Lourdes was one of my favourite films.
Yeah, it's a masterpiece.
Whenever it was.
It's a mind-blowing film.
Yeah.
It is an absolute masterpiece. I love Lourdes. But this and Little Joe last time, whenever it was, 2 or 3 years ago, I don't know, I felt it was nebulous.
Yeah.
And I felt that, the line readings were kind of torpid. I wondered, it's one of those rare times I have in the world of international cinema when you think to yourself, can she hear how that sounds in English? Or she just thinks, that's the kind of music I want. Kind of deadpan. Yeah, that sounds fine. Good stuff, everyone. And I was thinking, I don't think it is good stuff. It sounds torpid in the wrong way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen movies about eating disorders and anorexia and so on, which use those things to make a real point, whereas I think Club Zero was sort of circling around in a world of its own. So I mean, it's well shot, it's beautifully designed. I mean, I quite like that kind of indeterminate. Is it supposed to be in Europe? Is it supposed to be in the UK? Where is it happening again? This Middle European indeterminacy I thought was kind of interesting, but no, that was a miss for me.
Oh, thanks so much, Peter.
Not at all.
Ragazzi, mi si smonta tutto. Il film non si fa più. 2 giorni qua non ci deve essere più niente. Bisogna cominciare subito. Coraggio, al lavoro. Buttate giù. Dico bene, autore?
Sì, grazie. Arrivederci, ragazzi. Ci vediamo in un prossimo film.
Lo speriamo.
Ciao, marinai.
Coming soon, Cinema Italia, a new podcast dedicated to the glories of Italian cinema. Each week, special guests from around the world will discuss their favourite Italian films, from spaghetti westerns to neo-realism, gialli to Roberto Benigni, La Dolce Vita to Cannibal Holocaust. We'll be casting a new light on old classics, as well as exploring recent currents in contemporary Italian film. Along the way, we'll unearth some lesser-known gems. Subscribe now so as not to miss an episode. Presented by me, John Bleasdale.
Arrivederci, ragazzi. Ci vediamo in un prossimo film.
Lo speriamo.
Go fucking hell.
Yeah, do it.
Go on.
Oh, okay. Am I speaking? Okay. So my highlight.
You are speaking.
Hello. Do I need to introduce myself?
Well, you can do if you want. Yeah, go on.
Ed Potton, The Times. Hello, John.
Hello, Ed.
Do you want me to describe where I am at the moment? I'm sitting
can you
on
paint us a picture?
the Terrasse des Journalistes, looking at the sun go down to the west. It's the last day of the festival. About to hear who's won the Palme d'Or. It's been a quite a kind of roller coaster of a Cannes, hasn't it? I mean, it's definitely been. There have been quite low points, or kind of maybe low is
the low
over-egging
points
it a
were
bit.
before you arrived, Ed, when it rained.
Yes, basically.
Joanne Titmarsh, The Evening Standard.
Yes.
When it rained.
But as soon as I arrived, basically, it started getting good. And no, it's been fun. My favourite film I've seen, I'm gutted I didn't see The Zone of Interest. My favourite film I've seen, probably. Hello. You're listening. Are you're wanting to hear which my favourite film is? It's between Perfect Days and Anatomy of a Fall, I would say. I liked them both a lot. Probably like 4.5 stars each. I haven't seen a 5-starer, I would say, but I suspect if I had seen The Zone of Interest, I would have given that 5 anyway.
Yeah.
My favourite night, though, well, 2 favourite nights. There was one night where we all went for dinner with, how many of us? 11 of us in the end. Long table, upstairs room, that was lovely. And the Kanzen party was really fun. Perfect level of drunkenness, perfect friends, perfect music, left a reasonable time. What's not to like?
Dancing on the beach.
Indeed.
Excellent stuff.
You know what happened to me today? I was packing to get ready to leave tomorrow, and I put my sparkly silver sandals away, and when I picked them up, loads of grains of sand fell out of them.
Lovely.
And that was a really nice moment for me, actually.
I do like keeping a bit of sand, like Tom. What's the guy who died? The Saving Private Ryan guy. He always
Tom
puts
Hanks.
Not Tom Hanks. Tom Sizemore. Tom Sizemore.
Yes, sorry, yeah. I was going to say, if Hanks had died, I'd missed that one.
Yeah, no, that's yet to...
Since the red carpet incident. It's like since
Are you
been
recording this,
assassinated.
John, thinking that you're going to use it professionally in some way?
I was going to say,
It's all
gold.
going in.
Absolute fucking gold.
All going in.
What are you collecting it for?
For Writers on Film, it's going to be Writers on Can.
A colour collage.
My highlights have been seeing the really moving showreel that the festival put on for Harrison Ford at the gala screening of Indiana Jones. It was so beautiful, and to see his career over the years and just think, oh my God, there he is, Han Solo, there he is, Indiana Jones.
And you may disagree with this,
Witness.
but
Rick Deckard.
Dark era, there are a few male humans that have been that handsome as he was in Raiders of the Lost Ark era, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's Robert Redford, Paul Newman, handsome.
He's fucking handsome at that point, isn't he? In his life, he could basically pull anyone he wants, male or female, but generally female.
I think
Harrison
generally
Ford.
male,
Yeah.
actually, judging by your
Yeah,
expression.
salivating.
Some of that enthusiasm.
He was.
Yeah, I think he was more for the guys. Actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
No,
I've never
been sexually attracted to Harrison Ford?
Bit, but I don't know many women that have him on their sort of list
Really?
of
This
celebs
is news
that
to
they
me.
want to fuck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I definitely want to fuck him.
Yeah,
Even
exactly.
now.
So,
even
there
at
you
80.
go.
I'm not 88, to add.
Feeling it,
Is this
like
going to make the cut?
All of this is going in. I'm not editing it. It takes too long to edit it. It's all going in.
Right.
There is
So
no
that was one of
B-roll.
my
Can you change my
highlights.
name?
Yeah.
Can you call me Ped Motton?
I don't think you want to be saying ped in this.
No, God.
Not in this
festival.
environment.
Should
Not
we
with
add
this
that it has
economy.
been the pedo can?
Yeah,
Yes.
well,
Not in terms of the off film behaviour,
Yeah.
but in terms of the actual films.
Yeah,
Should we
definitely
count the, should
a
we count the
very
films that,
pedotastic time that
so
we've all
Dry
been
Grasses,
Last
Club
Summer.
Zero. I mean,
May,
even The Idol is not
December.
quite classically paedophilia, but it's definitely exploitation of young people,
having. Yes, but
Yeah.
not children.
not children. Yeah, last summer did we say? What else? There's another one. I'm sure there's another pedo-tastic film here that we've missed. But definitely the kind of there has been an ongoing theme of exploitation of kids.
Tour, which had the
There we go.
15-year-old,
Yes,
with
exactly.
the sexy.
So I don't know what we should interpret that.
it seems to be on everyone's mind.
Can plus ça change.
Plus ça change. Yeah, maybe that's how it's always been.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, and the low point of the festival, like a film you really didn't like, or even just an aspect of the
You know
festival.
what I'm going to say for this, don't you? It's
Go
going to be
ahead,
different
yeah.
to you, but the Ken Loach definitely.
Go on.
There's been lots of adulation for him over the years here, quite rightly, most of it. But he was, if ever he was trading on his reputation, I think it's this one. It's, great idea and great that he's making a film about the friction between Brits who feel like they've been left behind in very subtle this 2016 and Syrian immigrants or refugees. Great that he's making a film because not many people are making films about that subject, which is fantastic. Execution, however, awful, I thought. Dreadful script, dreadful characterisation, dreadful acting. Sorry, Ken.
And I met him as well the other day, and he was so nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he smiled at me in my hotel the other day.
I think we just have to say for the record, Ed Potton, Tory scum.
Tory scum, sorry.
Gotta be, yeah.
I was told to write that obviously by my editor because I work for a right-wing newspaper.
I think the low point for me was standing in the rain for an hour with a ticket to get in to see Strange Way of Life and being turned away and
Oh, no, I haven't heard about this.
Yeah, and that was a real low point because I had to write about it. And so I know it's not like going down a mine like Ken would want me to do.
Ken's never gone down a mine.
Well, the point is there aren't any mines anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Because the Syrian immigrants have taken away all the mines.
But when you're trying to do your job and that happens, it was really it was a bit of a low point. But then it turned into a high point because I went for lunch with a really nice bunch of people who I didn't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't heard about this.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you were to rank this Cannes, compare it to previous Cannes you'd attended, where would you put it? Has it been a classic Cannes, or has it been a shambolic?
It's been a Cannes of highs and lows, hasn't it? Quite extreme
rollercoaster
highs
Cannes.
and lows.
Well, you were only here for 1 week. So.
But even in that week, it seems like it's been quite eventful.
I think that in terms of quality of cinema, this has been a really great year.
Do you think? Okay.
Yeah, lots of 4-star films.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen a 5-starer, but as I say, I would have probably given.
Because you missed the best.
Yeah, I missed the best film, which is gutting. But it'll be on. I suspect they might show it in the UK at some point.
I had the right amount of kind of the frisson of danger and drama and
there was quite a lot of seamy kind of brave filmmaking, wasn't there? And there were quite a lot of ambiguous protagonists, which I quite liked. People you weren't necessarily meant to adore or abhor.
The hero of the film is not a hero.
Yeah, I think that's as it should be.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Brilliant. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John.
We love you.
That's staying in. You keep saying these things as if I'm going to cut them out.
Messieurs, dames, si vous n'avez pas de place, vous ressortez, vous montez au balcon, s'il vous plaît. Tous les gens debout.
So we're at the final screening of the Cannes Film Festival. I'm going to see a film called Four Daughters, which is a hybrid documentary and is in competition, which leaves only Black Flies and one other film whose title I can't quite recall, unseen in the competition. I'm in the Debussy, which is a theatre which seats around about 900 people, almost 1,000 people, and is one of the main venues for the press screening. It's a huge screen, one of the largest in Europe. And we had to queue quite a while outside to get in today because there seems to be a lot of people still around. Usually at this point the festival thins out somewhat, and the marché finished on Wednesday, so a lot of journalists have gone home, a lot of business people, industry people have certainly gone home, but there seems to be a lot of people here as well from the public, so a lot of people have bought tickets for these catch-up screenings. So the Palme d'Or has gone to Anatomy of a Fall by Justin Treat, and starring Sandra Huller, who was also in Zone of Interest, a film that won the second prize at the Cannes Film Festival this year. I would say that my favourite film of the festival was Zone of Interest, and I can't help being a little bit disappointed that that hasn't come away with the top prize, despite the fact that prizes and juries and competitions and all that, they're good for generating discussion, but they shouldn't be seen as any real arbiters of taste or arbiters of quality. It's a good idea. It's a good thing to talk about, but as long as we don't take it all too seriously. The noise you can hear in the background is a firework display which is going on. It's been going on for the past 5 minutes, which is celebrating the end of the film festival. That stopped now. Maybe? Yes. Some seagulls instead. On the whole, I think looking at the competition generally, it's been a really big year of high quality films. There have been a lot of 4-star films, a lot of 5-star films. Again, you might not think the star rating is particularly important, but it's a good shorthand for there you go again. I mean, I hope it's a firework display, because it might be something else. I particularly liked Wang Bing's Youth, which is first part of a documentary series, which is going to, I think, take in several festivals, including Venice. A 3.5-hour documentary on the Chinese workers in clothing industry. Really interesting, and really, it's not going to be an easy sell. 3.5 hours of people working, but it's also about people living and their lives, you know. So it's really good watch. I thought very, very interesting, very fascinating. Once you get over the initial sort of idea of what you're watching. I also very much enjoyed the Parader Monster. It's just impossible to do these. There's a moment in Anatomy of a Fall where an interview fails because some music is being played loud, and that sounds a little bit like this now. Yeah, it's almost impossible for me to talk coherently while this is going on. Wow. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed that little glimpse of Cannes. It's one of my happy places, one of the places I most enjoy being. It is truly a festival of cinema. It is truly a celebration. I've been to many festivals, and Cannes is in its own way unique. You've got the Croisette, blue skies, well, except for the start of the festival where it rained like it was Barrow in Furness for some reason. Stupid weather, but we got soaked and we went in and saw films anyway, because that is the kind of people we are, heroes and martyrs to the cinematic cause. I left in a lot of the ragtag stuff. I hope it doesn't try your patience too much, but I really wanted you to get an impression of the sort of atmosphere, and a lot of it, you know, the best thing about the festival for me, 100% the best thing without any shadow of a doubt, is the people you meet. The people who you meet, who you talk to, the colleagues, the distributors, the people in the industry, the producers, the actors, the directors, of course. Everyone you meet is there for a love of cinema or a need to make money, which isn't necessarily that bad a thing if you can do it. I certainly don't want to go there and lose money, put it that way. So it's just brilliant to be with those people and to share with them a passion for cinema and to disagree. One of the important lessons I always learn in Cannes is no matter how bad you think a film is, for someone it's their favorite film, and no matter how much you love a film, for someone it's their worst film of Cannes. So you get a real set, and these people are not idiots, not at all. You know, people you disagree with know more about cinema, are more articulate, are more clever than I am. But we have these huge disagreements, and why not? Absolutely. And that's something maybe Twitter could learn and other social medias, that people who don't agree with you don't do so out of some sort of bad faith or some incompetence or ignorance. They do so because they have their own reasons, they have their own life experience, and they come at it from a unique angle. And if you shut up for a second and listen, like hopefully I have done, you learn stuff, and you might not change your mind. You don't need to change your mind. Your perspective is as special, unique, and interesting as anybody else's. You don't have to change your mind, but if you listen, you might be able to just deepen and enrich your own love of cinema. So that's my plea to you, film Twitter and film everybody, is let's listen to each other, and let's try to enrich the culture of conversation and discussion when it comes to the world of film. The next week I have we will be resuming normal service as another writer comes on board to discuss their book. Please check out my other podcast, Cinema Italia, which is an English language podcast, I hasten to add, which is exploring the world of Italian cinema from the beginning to the end. out of chronological order, as people come onto the pod and they discuss their favorite Italian films. And so far we've had 4 or 5 episodes, and they've been wonderful. They've really been interesting for me as a lover of Italian cinema, somewhat critical lover of Italian cinema, someone who lives in Italy and has experience the unique situation of this beautiful country. So if you have the opportunity, please subscribe to that. Obviously, if you haven't already, subscribe to Writers on Film as well. Make it a twofer. None of these, there's no paywall, there's no Patreon, there's nothing you need to put down. You just need to listen, subscribe, review, like, and spread the word. Thank you very much as well to all the listeners of Writers on Film who approached me during the Cannes Film Festival, of which there were several who enjoyed it. And it's great to meet you in the flesh, and it's great to hear your feedback, because it's great. It's incredibly encouraging. I cannot tell you how encouraging that is. So thank you for that. Best wishes, everybody, and we'll talk next week, right?
$1-800-Flowers.com knows that a gift is never just a gift. A gift is an expression of everything you feel and helps to build more meaningful relationships. 1-800-Flowers takes the pressure off by helping you navigate life's important moments by making it simple to find the perfect gift. From flowers and cookies to cake and chocolate, 1-800-Flowers helps guide you in finding the right gift to say how you feel. To learn more, visit 1-800-Flowers.com/ACAST. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/ACAST.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.